The Hinchinbrook region. It covers a swathe of North Queensland coastline recognised as one of the most beautiful in Australia. It's dominated by rugged Hinchinbrook Island, one of the world's largest island national parks, facing a mainland mountain range, also home to extensive national parks, the two separated by a meandering, mangrove-lined channel rich in marine life. It is a very special place. The Hinchinbrook region is popular with recreational anglers and is also the location that some commercial fishers are fortunate enough to call their workplace. Commercial fishing in the Hinchinbrook region goes back to the earliest days of European settlement. Since then, it has provided abundant catches for generations of fishing families and still today continues to supply fresh tropical seafood and make an important contribution to the regional economy. The beauty and special character of the area is not lost on professional fishers like Les Dalloway.
Well, we choose here because it was such a pristine environment and it's just great, you know. There's still plenty of fish, barramundi, king salmon, blue salmon, mullet. That's our main species we target.
The region is approximately halfway between Townsville and Cairns, with the towns of Ingham and Lucinda at the southern end and Cardwell immediately to the north. It provides access to significant offshore fishing grounds for reef fishermen and prawn trawlers, but the styles of professional fishing most identified with the Hinchinbrook region are potting for mud crabs and net fishing for species like barramundi and threadfin in waters closer to shore. The dominant aquatic feature here is the 44-kilometre long Hinchinbrook Channel, running roughly northwest to southeast from Cardwell to Lucinda, flanked by more than 160 square kilometres of mangroves and joined near the southern end by the impressive Herbert River. Mud crabbing is conducted in the channel and netting in adjacent waters outside the channel. While commercial fishing has been conducted in the region since the 1800s and seafood catches are sustainable and the habitat well protected, fishers realise they must demonstrate their stewardship of the marine environment. One of the responses from Hinchinbrook fishers has been volunteering for an environmental management system, or EMS, funded by the Australian Government's Caring for Our Country program. It was developed by local industry in conjunction with the Queensland Seafood Industry Association. Local fishers document their fishing practices and look for ways to further improve their environmental performance. It is a way of readily demonstrating continuing commitment to sustainable fishing practices and stewardship of the marine environment. Hinchinbrook fishers also work with officers from CNET, a nationwide network of fisheries conservation experts providing an environmental extension service to the Australian fishing industry. The North Queensland CNET officer, Dave Schubert, regularly takes to the water with fishers like Dave Perkins to pass on advice about the latest technological developments and in turn get their feedback about how the local environment can be even better cared for. This includes adoption of electronic devices, colloquially known as pingers, which are hung from fishing nets and send out an acoustic signal that alerts mammals like dolphins and whales to the presence of a net long before they reach it. Pingers are now widely used throughout the region.
I started using them about 2002. I had the first prototype from here. I've never caught a dugong with it.
CNET Queensland manager David Kreutz is also working with Hinchinbrook fishers in the adoption of what are called sustainable harvest strategies.
CNET is an independent federally funded program that works directly on ground with local fishers as a third party to improve their sustainability and to encourage the uptake of codes of practice, codes of conduct and EMSs. Local fishers in Hinchinbrook are engaging through CNET and coming together. They've already gone through the process of code of conduct and now they're going down the pathway of EMS and adoption of sustainable harvest strategies and avoidance strategies for threatened, protected and endangered animals. The idea of the EMS is that fishers can demonstrate to the broader public their custodianship for the environment, that they are proactive in mitigating the impacts of their fishing, and that they're looking for long-term sustainability in their business. Fishers have been working here in Hinchinbrook with researchers from the James Cook University in Townsville. They've also been working with other independent researchers cooperatively. They have observer programs, and they look for research that CNET often provides them on better ways and better methodologies of sustainable harvest. Hinchinbrook is an extremely special place. It's a place that the fishers have a real empathy for. They want to see long-term protection, but they also need to have a sustainable harvest. So their actions are to work side by side with other users, demonstrate and continuously update their technologies and their methodologies. I think the industry has a very bright future. The Code of Conduct and EMS process is integral in that, in demonstrating we can coexist with extremely special areas and other users, and to demystify what fishermen do that is often misconceived by the general public.
Local fishers like Dave Perkins, who's been in this industry more than 40 years, understand the need to follow strict management rules for fishing. Numerous regulations to prevent overfishing must be followed by professional fishermen. Basic rules include releasing male mud crabs that don't reach the minimum legal size, and releasing all female mud crabs identified by the rounded tail flap under the belly, regardless of size. The number of pots that each licensed crab fisherman is allowed to use is strictly limited, and every pot carries an identifying tag showing his name and licence number to assist with enforcement of the rules. In harvesting seafood here, local fishers have also been working closely with traditional owners, represented here by the Giringan Aboriginal Corporation. The Giringan Aboriginal Corporation CEO is Philip Rist.
Yeah, look, I really got to take my hat off to the Hinchinbrook seafood industry in particular. As far as Indigenous engagement and commercial fisheries interaction, the Hinchinbrook seafood industry as a commercial fishing group have really interacted with us really well, and we've started to talk about how we can better jointly manage our seafood stocks, and so forth. But this sort of discussion or interaction is relatively unheard of along the east coast here. There's always been that commercial fishermen, recreational fishermen, tourism, and traditional owners there as well, and the relationship between those groups haven't always been good. So we're Giringan. We're very excited about that ability to work very closely with the Hinchinbrook seafood industry. I think the underpinning thing of it all is sustainability, as well as including the views and aspirations of everybody else.
Catches from inshore waters in the Hinchinbrook region are supplied to local retail shops for the majority of local residents who enjoy fresh local fish and crabs but don't catch their own, and also for the many tourists to the region for whom a visit to North Queensland would not be the same without enjoying some of the region's iconic tropical seafood. Thanks to local fishers' adoption of an environmental management system, in conjunction with organisations like CNET, Ocean Watch and the Queensland Seafood Industry Association, residents and visitors alike will be able to go on enjoying a sustainable harvest of wild seafood into the future. Fishermen are adopting environmental management systems round the Queensland coast. For more information, contact the Queensland Seafood Industry Association.